Welcome to the Ellis Talker Show. If you enjoy our content, please like or subscribe.
Hi, welcome to the Ellis Talker Show. I'm DV LeBron. Do you have construction needs? Maybe you want to get something done around the house? Check out K&H Construction. Company out of Waxahachie, Chris Helms. Let them know DV LeBron sent you. I'm continuing my candidate series, but this is an internal GOP candidate thing. For the first time in a very long time, there's a race for the chairman of the GOP. And today, I have the chairman of the Ellis County GOP, Mr. Randy Bellomy. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to talk with you because of your knowledge of politics and especially here in the county. And I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Randy. You know, there might be some people that don't know you, so I want you to give a brief intro and we'll go kind of into the questions.
All right, sir. I moved to Ellis County in 91 out of Dallas County, where I served 18 years in different positions in the county. I was Volunteer of the Year in 1991. I actually received the award after I moved out here for the Senatorial District 23. I held lots of, like I say, positions as far as the chairman of the different conventions, precinct chairs. I taught many people how to hold a precinct convention, how to run a county convention, ran the county conventions ourselves, gave a significant amount of time in doing this. And it kind of, but this is something I feel God has called me to do. And that's the reason I'm involved in the Republican Party, because I think it most aligns with my values, which are very strong conservative Christian values. We have a lot of material that we can get to people and get them involved. And that's my main goal, is to get involvement as much as possible.
What made you originally want to run for chairman?
Well, I was vice chair at the time, and when our chairman at the time, Denise DeLar, decided to run for office, I was asked by several of the precinct chairs to step up and take the position along with some of our office holders. And I said I would pray about it. In fact, I sought advice from my pastor and also from a missionary that usually stayed with us for about 2 months out every year. He says, Randy, you got to do it. It's bottom line. He says, America's in trouble and they need all the help that they can get to bring conservative Christian values to the party and to the Texas.
Looking back at your tenure as chairman, what are you most proud of in all these years that you've been chairman?
Well, the most significant is the involvement and increase of the number of precinct chairs that we have. When I first started, we had somewhere between 19 and 20 precinct chairs. Now we have 47. And hopefully after this election, we will have 49. So that precinct chairs is starting at the basic grassroots part of the party. And I believe in the party being grassroots run from the bottom up. It's not a party is not from the bottom down. The Republican Party of Texas is the largest grassroots party, state party in the United States. Our state convention runs anywhere from 13 to 15,000 people. It's the largest political convention of any conventions in the United States, and I believe in the world. Nobody has one actually this large. It's composed of delegates and alternates, and which we're about to come up into after the election, what we call our convention season, where we start our precinct conventions, our county convention, and then you're working towards the state convention, and where the platform is hammered out at the state convention to what the party believes.
In what ways would you say that you have grown participation in the party while you've been president?
Well, first, the number of delegates that we have going to the state convention has increased. The numbers at our county convention have increased. The numbers at our monthly meetings have increased. The number of voters have increased. There's been, talk about how there was a 4% difference in previous years. And I have numbers here showing that in 2018, in the primary, we voted 43,647. Okay, this is Republican primary. I'm sorry, I grabbed the wrong number. That was the general. The primary in 2018 was 21,169. The primary in the governor's race, and that was the 18 was the governor's race. The primary in 2020 numbers went from 21,000 to 18,800. That was a little bit of a drop. But in the general, we gathered 4,447 in 18 and 45,564 for an increase of overall in the general. So in those 2 years, and I can give you the numbers on the presidential, but we're going into right now the governor's race. This is the main headline of really. Now we do have a U.S. Senate race and stuff that's going to be very strong, but everything's most polling is usually based on the governor's race. The percentage of when we go to choose election judges, because we are the majority, then we get to choose those election judges. That's very significant in making sure our elections are very honest and fair.
It does. That's an integral role to have those. What is the most major concern that you see coming in the future when it comes to the Republican Party in Ellis County?
Well, the major thing is there's a real push here in the county through MUDs or through high density developments that traditionally will hinder the way of life that we normally see here in Ellis County. And, you can't stop growth. You can't stop a man from selling his property rights, but you can make the developers and all develop correctly and properly. And that's what this county is doing now. It's fighting most of these and staying on top of most of the developers so that we don't get developments in here that you and I taxes have to end up having to redo because they weren't done properly in the first place. And so because they're in the county, that means everybody in the county is going to have to foot the bill.
Right. Now, I've talked to you offline, and I've asked you this before, throughout the years. This last election with President Trump, Latino men came out big for him.
Yes,
And,
yes, they did.
That ended up being a little bit of a difference maker. I mean, it wasn't all. There was obviously a lot more other people, but it was a difference maker. And I've told you, I said, Randy, we have to start getting people that look a little different in the party. We have to, because it has to happen. And what are your thoughts on that? And what have you done to try to move in that direction?
Well, one of the things that we would like to do is naturally increase our involvement in the Hispanic community. 2018, when I was first chairman, the first Hispanic was ever elected here in the county, and that was Crystal Valdez. Both of them have been extremely involved in our party, doing all kinds of different things. And we would love to see, more, especially on the candidate side, for them to step up. We have different trainings, not only through the state party. We do some of those here that will help candidates, or we can sign them up for in the statewide trainings to, allow them to gain the knowledge that they would need to run a campaign. I try to talk to all the candidates, especially first-time candidates, when they sign up and tell them, some of the basic steps of what they need to do here. But there's so much information that needs for a candidate to do that it will take them, hours and hours to research all of it. Campaign finance and how to fill out reports, how to, order signs and get the correct wording on each of the signs that has to be posted on them, and all these things that a candidate has to do. There is also, what's the best way to, get to people and stuff like that. And I tell them about talking with the precinct chairs, because precinct chairs represent upwards to 5,000 people each. And so that allows them to get involved. Now, as far as recruiting outright, I have not gone to any Hispanic organizations and talked with them. Would love to if I got invited. I don't push myself on anybody.
Right.
So if I'm invited, I'd love to go and explain to them how to get involved in our party and that we'd love to have them. There was another area that I noticed in this last election that was significantly increased, and that was Black men. They have a significant increase in their vote here in the county as well. I'd like to reach out to them because most Black men are more conservative than their females.
Right.
So I'd love to see them involved in the party also. We have an open door to the public. Anybody can come to our meetings. Anybody can participate in anything but the governing part of the body. When we are doing business as a party, only the precinct chairs are allowed to vote or voice an opinion. Sometimes I'll allow some things from the floor of people that are not, because of their expertise possibly in that field and stuff. But for the most part, the party is run by the precinct chairs.
Randy, I know you've seen this. The Republican Party is not monolithic in thought. Although we have a platform, we do not do lockstep. That isn't us as a party. There's very, very many different shades of the Republican Party. And you have those different shades within Ellis County. And you have some that are much more conservative and, they're very vocal. And you have some that, are not, maybe are conservative, but not as conservative. And then you have some that, maybe labeled as rhino. And you have all these different factions within the Republican Party here in Ellis County. How can you foster a respect? Because there's been some friction. What do you do to kind of foster peace and respect in that within our party in here in Ellis County?
I do not take people out to the woodshed, so to speak, in public.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I talk to them privately and ask them to basically tone it down. Be constructive in their thoughts and their argument. Don't be argumentative. Just tell the truth straight up. Facts is what people want. They don't want a bunch of hyperbole to go along with it.
Yeah. No, it's true. And hyperbole is that has affected, and you've been around a lot longer than I, but I've seen how words have shaped the political landscape of my country, and it's tearing my country apart. Is the way that people talk to each other, and they don't see the humanity in each other. You become a label, and it really is destructive. If
people
go ahead.
People they get passionate and emotional. And anytime people are investing money and time, in the Bible it says that's where their heart is. And they're very passionate because they have been shaped by their environment, like you say. A lot of them have gone through different types. We got people here from California that have been shaped by the politics in California. We've got people here from Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, whatever, that all been shaped by the politics there, and they don't want it to see it happen here. It for lack of better terms, it gets their hackles up.
Yeah.
And so people are very passionate at this point, and it shouldn't be. They need a little bit of decorum. Okay. And anytime that they're dealing with the public, there's ways of addressing a situation without, throwing mud on somebody.
Yeah. No, I mean, it gets sometimes it gets to be a little much, but I mean, I get the spirited debates, but I remember I'm old enough to remember, things like Tip O'Neill and Reagan. You disagreed. You both loved the country. You just had different ways of wanting to get to certain things. And, it wasn't, but I know that political system is long gone. A lot of it's gone out the window. If you're reelected, what would you like to see done in your next term? What is one of your most major goals you want to get done?
Well, naturally, the general election is to get Republicans. I mean, we've got a U.S. Senate race that whoever wins that. Unfortunately, there's not much of a race for governor, or fortunate. I mean, I don't think that's going to be anything to speak of. Some of the down ballot races we have, even here in the county for the first time, like Kyle over Commissioner Ford has got a Democrat opponent. Butch Wright, JP 4 is, I'm 3. I'm sorry. No, it's 4. Good grief, I'm getting mixed up.
Butler's 4, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that is a Democrat opponent. Let's see, we have those are the two most local issues that we're going to be dealing with in the general. Most of the races are, as we know, are going to be decided in the Republican Party at this primary. Well, unfortunately, the primary probably is going to have we've had so many races, we're going to have a runoff, more than likely, for several of the positions, possibly here in the county too. So we've you have to treat an elections as a marathon, not as a sprint. And in between all the elections, then we have all our conventions, and keeping people involved in that many after they have worked for 5 months in campaigns and then turn around and getting them involved in the convention process is very difficult. People are getting weary at that point, but
Right.
it's one of those necessary things that we have to do. And so we just the main thing to do is to keep that involvement up and going is encouragement. And constantly telling the new people, come join us, come be in the party, get into the different conventions. You may not understand. We're willing to train you. We're willing to teach you in all. We have lots of people that are more than willing to share with you. And mainly it's our precinct chairs that are doing that.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that goes. I mean, I'm learning, and for me, I mean, I was one of those California transplants, and
Mhm.
I had been here about 2 years when I showed up in Ellis County, and the first place I walked in was actually Ron Wright's campaign, and I
Mhm.
walked in there, and I looked around and I expected something different, and I was really surprised on just how wonderful that man was and how they treated me. It was a beautiful thing, and it was real nice being embraced, by the party. But Ellis County has a lot of challenges and a lot of different personalities, and I wouldn't wish for your job any day. So I mean, I'm grateful that people want to run and do it, but I sure like doing it from behind this camera. 'Cause that is too much.
It becomes, it's hard on your family. It takes a tremendous amount of time. I spend about 60 to 80 hours a week doing this. I do. If I worked this hard in my business, I'd be super rich.
Yeah, you'd be rich. Yeah.
But just like our founding fathers, and I don't want to think that I'm comparing myself to them, but I wanted to have the same attitude as them, is I'm willing to sacrifice finances and everything for for this nation. And as you know, as Texas goes, so will this nation.
Absolutely.
So there is way too much at stake for us to back off. We've got to stay strong, and we've got to keep pushing against all this, for lack of better terms, again, wokeness that is trying to creep into the Republican Party.
Yes.
And that's the reason why we have to sometimes some people say, well, y'all are unfriendly and all. No, we may not agree with your ideas, but we don't, there's the old adage, love the sinner, hate the sin.
Right.
And that's what way we have to approach people. Once again, my biblical values are what guides me in everything that I do. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Ask my wife.
Mine too, she would say no.
But,
I get it.
this is, we've grown the party. Like I said, our meetings were running anywhere from 20 to 30. Now on the average, about 120. We nearly doubled that probably at the last meeting. We've had a lot of good response. We're expecting a great meeting in February the 3rd. And starts at 5:30 for the social hour. And that's what that is. It's a social hour. You go around, meet and greet people. Introduce yourself to people. A lot of the candidates will be there. They'll have material and stuff, and would love for people to come out. And DV, I know you reach a wide range of people in this county and even out. I'd love to have them, to come on out and to meet these candidates. And we'll be featuring the Commissioner 2 race, the CD District Court 4, JP3, JP4, and all these people have been notified. All of them have said that they would be there or they would have a representative there. And so you can talk directly to the campaigns and stuff if you come.
Yeah,
So-
it was, I mean, I was able to throw a forum and had, most of the candidates. And then by the time I have about two more candidates left roughly. And then I'm done with this election cycle. And, I'm kind of ready for it. There was a lot of candidates this time around. And I know that there's more coming in May with the school board elections. That ought to be interesting, but it's a labor of love, but I like getting these guys out here for people to be informed. And I mean, they get to see these people say it in their own words. I don't have to say a dang thing. It's not my place. I just put you on and let you talk to the people, and the people could decide. I love that. That's what I want for my community,
Well,
definitely.
I tell people if they'll come to the meetings and get a hold of that guy and look him straight in the eye, you can tell more about him than anything else right there. And you can ask the solid question right there. I mean, there I have seen very seldom I've ever seen candidates hit the door as soon as they finish their speaking. They want to sit around and they want to talk to people. Our meeting usually ends about 8:30, but there'll be people there talking till 10.
Yeah.
So we just, like I say, we'd love to have people come. Yes, it might get a little crowded.
Is it going to be at the one in Ovilla, or not Ovilla,
Yes, sir.
but on Ovilla Road?
Oh,
Yeah.
Novilla Road. It's called the After Church at 1511 Ovilla Road. And it's on our website at elliscountygop.org. The times and addresses there. They can go on and look at our website and bring up all the different precinct chairs, all the different candidates that are going to be on the ballots and stuff like that. There's a link there to go to the election administration where you can look at the sample ballot that you by your precinct, or you can just go straight to the county website and pull that up. And so there's lots of different ways that they can get information and stuff. And if there's an issue, they can call us. They can call us at the party headquarters office. That's on our website. Or they can call me. My number's 214-801-9970. I'd be glad to talk to them. In fact, I'm almost hoarse now from talking to people all day long.
Yeah. Well, I like to give my guest the last word. If there's anything you want to tell the Ellis County GOP voters.
Mainly, DV, is that I've had the experience. I've got the ability to grow this party, which I had done over the last 10 years. Like I said, I brought it from a very small meeting to, as you know, some very large meetings and stuff. And we've gotten a lot more involvement from our office holders. and stuff, and then candidates. And so I think because of that experience and the ability to do all the other things that a county chairman does, and one of the things we didn't discuss much is elections. That's about 45 to 50% of this job, is helping run those elections and make sure that they're done correctly, that the right people are appointed into the right positions for our primary. I will, over the last 12 years, I have been in the election administration office on an election day at the close of polls, and from then until the last vote is counted. Me, along with the Democrat county sheriff, Kelly, she and I will check in the boxes. We'll check the serial numbers on those boxes and make sure that nothing has changed. We make sure the thumb drive is in the right bag and that the serial is on those. And once that is done, then that thumb drive is then taken to the machines to go ahead and operate once they go through the ballot board and stuff like that. So we oversee the elections as much as I possibly can, because I am on the primary, the signer of the contract with the election administrator. I'm allowed to go into all the polling places. I can't disturb anybody. I can't go over to where they're voting or anything, but I can watch and make sure that things are going correctly. I check with the election judge. Do you need anything? I check with all the people out electioneering in the parking lot, reminding them what they can do and what they can't do and stuff like that. I'll drive usually on election day over 300 miles, hitting all the polling places that I can.
Wow, that's a lot of work. That's a
So
lot of work.
but it's a labor of love.
I understand that.
I do it because I love this country.
Yeah, I agree with that. But that is something we share. I do love this country. Well, Randy, thank you so much for coming on. Can you stick around after the show?
Absolutely.